Hi everyone, it's Audrey and welcome back to Chapter and Converse. Today's video is going to be super quick, I think, super last minute, and it is my TBR for the reading rush. And I am filming this on Sunday, the day before it starts, because I wasn't going to participate in this for multiple reasons. The big one being I am traveling midweek. I'm going to be gone for the end of the week, and I just thought it was too crazy to try and do something. But then I was watching everybody's TBR videos and I started to get excited and I started to feel like I wanted to do it, and here we are. So I've put together a list of books I'm going to try to read, plan to read. We're just going to see what happens. I feel like the beauty of the reading rush is that it's all about reading as much as you can, but it's also like low-key, no pressure. So like, read what you can if you want, you know, participate in challenges if you want to, do video challenges if you want to, all this other stuff sort of like if you want to. So I'm gonna read anyway this week. I might as well participate in the challenge. So that's why we're here, and let's talk about it. So the Reading Rush Challenge used to be known as Booktubeathon, but they've opened it up this year to be more inclusive to not just booktubers. Anybody and everybody can do it, and that's kind of the beauty of it. So this is actually gonna be the first time I'm participating in the challenge, and it goes from July 22nd, which is Monday, through the 28th. And I will link all the details down below. If you are watching this video, you've probably watched a whole bunch of other people's videos by now, and chances are you probably know more about the history of this than I even do. But there is a website where you can sign up and do a profile, and there's challenges on there, and I think there's like badges and more like interactive fun stuff to do. So all that stuff is going to be in the box down below. Let's just talk about the books that I'm going to plan / attempt / hope to read. There are 7 challenges, and then a bonus challenge is to read 7 books. Now, I don't really see that happening for me, but again, never say never. I wasn't going to do this readathon until earlier this morning, so who knows what's going to happen. But I do have a full travel day in the middle of the week, and while I understand I'm going to be confined to a plane for hours on end, and that's certainly a good time to read, I also tend to not have the attention span to focus on a book a lot of times, so I tend to like listen to music or watch a movie or something like that, or sleep. I'm gonna try, I've got audiobooks as part of this, so maybe I can listen to an audiobook, but you're not here to understand how I'm gonna get it done, you just wanna know what I'm reading, right? So let's talk about that. The first challenge is to read a book with purple on the cover, which means that I am finally gonna read Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So this is the UK edition, which does have purple on the cover, so it counts. It's got every color under the sun on it. And I am so excited to read this book. On the off chance you don't know what this is about Daisy Jones, who was a singer-songwriter in the 70s, and the band The Six, who come together, make music together, have some Fleetwood Mac-ish type drama, energy, success, just musical connection, and then the band breaks up one night sort of without explanation. So this is told all in interview format. This is told many years later, sort of retrospectively, about what happened with the band, everyone who was involved at the time, managers, wives, girlfriends, rock and roll journalists, all of it. And it is told through everybody's viewpoint. I have heard amazing things about the audiobook, which, spoiler alert, just came through my library. Isn't that like the best feeling? Like you wake up in the morning and there's an email that's like, after 97,000 months on hold, it is your turn to listen to Daisy Jones and the Six. So I think I'm gonna do a little combo of listening and reading, or maybe listening and reading along. It's a full cast. I didn't even pay any attention to who all was doing the audiobook until I literally just got it. But it's Jennifer Beals is on it, who I love. Benjamin Bratt, who is like Hello Amazing, Judy Greer. I'm so excited about this, you guys. So purple on the cover, this is happening. Challenge number 1. The second challenge is to read a book in the same spot. So you don't have to read an entire book in one sitting, but anytime you're reading that book, you're supposed to be sitting, laying, hanging out in the same place. And because, like I said, I'm traveling, I'm not sure where that's gonna work out for me on the other end of things, but I'm gonna try and knock this out just in the next couple days, and this might count as cheating, but it's fine. I picked The Grown Up by Gillian Flynn. So yes, this is like an 80-page novella, but here we are. So I don't actually know too much about this, which is fine because it's a novella, because I feel like I don't want to know too much about it. So there's something psychic, house, unsure, malevolent spirit inhabiting their house. Yes, I don't even want to know anything more than that. So I'm going to attempt to read this book in the same place before I head out this week. The third challenge is a book that you meant to read in 2018, and I literally could have picked half my dang bookshelf for this one. So I'm not sure. I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to get to this book, and I'm also going to reserve the right to change my mind, because if I don't get to this before I leave, I might wind up just pulling something that's available from Hoopla or through my library. But for the sake of being optimistic, I have picked If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. And this book has been likened to The Secret History by Donna Tartt, which I am in the camp of people who loved that book. And this is sort of a similar vibe to it all. So you have 7 friends, I want to say, in this one. Yes. And this book kind of opens up when one of those friends is being released from jail, and there's a detective who wants to talk to him and find out what really happened 10 years ago, because one of them, someone in the friend group, died. So they were 7 young Shakespearean actors at this like elite conservatory. So in their 4th and final year, rivalries amongst the group turn ugly, and on opening night, real violence invades the students' world of make-believe. In the morning, the 4th years find themselves facing their very own tragedy and their greatest acting challenge yet, convincing the police, each other, and themselves that they are innocent. So there you have it. So very secret history-ish. This is a book that I have wanted to read since before I bought it, and I just haven't gotten to it for absolutely no good reason, but I am going to attempt to get to it now. Challenge number 4 is to read a debut book by an author. So it doesn't have to be a book that came out in 2019. It can be any first book by any author. So like you can read The Mysterious Affair at Styles by Agatha Christie if you want to read a debut book. But coincidentally, I am actually picking a 2019 book, and it is The Au Pair by Emma Ruse. And I talked about this in one of my most anticipated 2019 release videos, and I also talked about it in an ebook or like haul video that I did recently, because I was able to snag a super great deal on this book. I got it for like $1.99. It's on my iPad, which is another reason why I'm picking it, because I can take it with me when I go. But this is a book about 2 twins, a boy and a girl, and they are adults now and sort of returning home after their father's death. And the day they were born, I want to say, their mother threw herself off a cliff, and then their au pair fled town. And I'm sure lots of secrets and mystery and confusion surrounded them back in the day. But here we are in sort of present day. Their father has passed away. They are back at home kind of going through his things and packing up. And they discover a photo of the day they were born, and it is a picture of their mother, their father, I want to say the au pair, and then a baby. But they're twins, so where's the other one? What is this picture? What's it all about? So some sort of search for answers going on in this one. Again, this is another book that I'm very excited to read. It's been on my anticipated list, and again, hoping I'm gonna actually get to it this week. The next challenge is to read a book with a non-human main character. Now, this one is hard for me because I don't read like sci-fi fantasy. I do not want to dive into a gigantic book. So there's a couple books that I'm like curious about, and I'll be honest, I don't even know if they have sci-fi, fantasy, non-human main characters in them. But I picked Bird Box by Josh Malerman, and I feel like because everyone's like hiding from something that they can't, they're like protecting themselves so they don't see something, because I think it'll like make them crazy or kill them, or something horrible will happen to everyone, so like everyone's in blindfolds. I'm not wholly certain if there's a non-human main character in this, but I'm making a huge leap and assumption that there's some sinister, not human thing happening in this book. So if I'm right or wrong, whatever, it's the book that I picked. And this actually is also a debut novel, so this could work for that challenge as well, and it could also work for a later challenge, so stay tuned for that. But if I'm wrong after I start and read this book, then I'm wrong, but for the sense of, or for the sake of this challenge, I'm picking Bird Box. The sixth challenge is to read a book with 5 or more words in the title, and I am reading, or picking, Trust Me When I Lie by Benjamin Stevenson. And this is actually an arc that comes out in August. So it is a book that I absolutely wanted to read this month anyway. And this book is, I want to say, a girl is murdered, like we know that out of the gate, and somebody went to prison for it. And we have a podcaster. You guys know I love a podcaster story. Ever since Sadie, I'm like completely obsessed. And he is, I guess, like looking into this guy's innocence, and I think the guy swears he's innocent, and he winds up, I don't know if he's like up for parole or kind of what's going on, but I think basically he gets let out of jail, thanks to this podcaster sort of proving that he was wrongfully accused and convicted. But then I believe another person gets murdered, sort of maybe same style as the first girl or something like that. So it's a little bit vague. I'm not quite sure, which is completely fine. But I think the question is sort of like, did this podcaster get this guy out of jail and then release a killer, and sort of who actually, what all happened, who's the murderer, who isn't, who's got the guilt, who's got the blame, all of that. I don't even know. We've got a dead person, we've got someone getting out of jail, and we've got a podcaster mixed in. So, and it's a thriller. So basically it's like everything I love, and I'm gonna read it. Okay, I just had to get up and grab this book, so if I'm sitting someplace different, that's why. But the last challenge is to read a book and then watch the TV or movie adaptation of the book. And again, I'd like to think I'm gonna have time to do all of this good stuff, but I might not. But in an optimistic way, I have picked Girl by Blake Nelson. And this is a book that is on my 2019 reread list. This is a book that I read many years ago, and I remember it fondly, and I read it multiple times, but I haven't read it in a really long time. So if you haven't watched my reread project personal challenge, I will link those down below. But basically I have a whole set of books that I have sort of moved with me when I've gone places. I like look at them and like feel fondly about them, but I haven't read any of them in a really long time. So I started rereading them to see if these are books that are actually still as amazing as I remember them, or were they really just amazing at a certain time and place in my life. And this is sort of a coming of age story slash, I think, like sexual awakening for this girl, Andrea. I don't even remember her name. So she lives in Portland. It's the blurb on the back is it's a catcher in the rye for the grunge generation. An instant classic that will speak to anyone who's ever had to choose between the suffocation of conformity and the perils of rebellion. So I remember feeling like this was kind of like my so-called life-ish, where Angela Chase, you know, kind of like breaks out and like gets new friends and like falls in love with Jordan Catalano and the music scene and all of that. And I remember this being completely similar because Andrea falls for this like local rock star guy whose name of course is not on the back of it, but I just remember it being great, and I don't know if I'm gonna have the same warm fuzzy feelings. But they also made a movie of this. I want to say it was in the 90s, maybe like late 90s, and it's Dominique Swain is in it, and Tara Reid is in it, and like a whole bunch of people who were popular at the time. I'm blanking also on the actor who was in it, but that is on, I want to say, Amazon Prime for free. So if all goes well, I will relive my youth and then rewatch that movie. So I've read it before, I've seen it before, but that's happening because it's on my reread list. And in the event that I can't get it together and get to this book, Bird Box is another one where there is that Netflix series with Sandra Bullock that's out, which I haven't watched yet because I wanted to read the book before I watched it. So Bird Box conceivably could satisfy 3 challenges. So I'm feeling highly motivated to read that book. And it's short, so genius. So that does it for my reading rush, and I'm sorry if I'm talking super fast and rushing through this video, but I want to edit it and get it up. And if you have been paying attention to the news, you know that it is a complete freaking heat wave, but I have my AC off because the dang microphone on this camera picks up everything. So it's getting hot in here. So let me know if you guys are participating in the reading rush this year, what books you're reading, if you've read any of the books that are on my list. As I said, as always, when it comes to any sort of readathon, I reserve the right to change my mind and switch up my TBR, but for the sake of this video, this is what I'm aiming to read. I will link my profile for the Reading Rush website down below too if you want to keep up there. I always post stuff on Instagram. So thank you guys for watching. If you're new here, definitely subscribe. All my social media stuff is down below too, so I would love if we could all be friends in other places. And I will keep you posted on how I do and what's going on my end. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for hanging out today, guys, and I hope you have a great one. Bye, everybody.